We're living through a paradigm shift in how we view animals. We're moving away from the idea that animals are tools, machines, commodities here for our use, and towards the idea that animals are beings with their own intrinsic rights, value, and dignity. The question for animal ethicists is how we embody, implement, and institutionalize those values in our public policy and our public institutions. That's why the topic of this year's Oxford Animal Ethics Summer School is Animals and Public Policy. We're here at Merton College, Oxford, and we're in partnership with the Brooks Institute for Animal Rights Law and Policy, the Kirkpatrick Foundation, Compassion in World Farming, and Susan and Dan Boggio.
The summer school is truly a unique environment of high-quality thinkers, both new and legacy, great diversity of perspectives. The enhanced environment moving to Merton College just creates a wonderful environment.
If we want big reforms, if we want lasting reforms, if we want reforms that, frankly, are going to give sustainability to our societies, then what we need is policymakers on board.
Public policy is really the first essential step to obtaining change.
When we're looking at things like the climate crisis, the health of our communities, the health of individuals, we cannot do this without including animals in this equation.
I believe in the entire concept of having like minds get together in a congenial atmosphere and talk about things. And this time it's about public policy, which is fundamental to how we make the big changes in how we treat animals.
When we talk about public policy, as a lawyer, it's very much part of what I do. The conversations that we have in public policy become part of what gets into the courtroom, what gets into the legislatures.
Animals are just largely missing from the public policy conversation. They're largely treated as private policy, and we as a society allow industries to self-regulate and decide for themselves how they want to treat the animals that they use and abuse and kill to profit from.
We have to get legislators, judges, to understand pigs and cows and chickens and elephants and see them as individuals, as beings, not as things.
We need to think about how we can include all species in policies and think about an ethics, it's an interspecies ethics that engages with other animals, elements of the environment as well as humans.
Framing our arguments in ways which are persuasive to those who make policy is so important for animals, for people, for the future of the planet.
At this year's summer school, I've been speaking about Humane Society International's significant contribution to obtaining a legal ban on fur farming in Italy, and how we have put in place the first steps to achieving an import ban of hunting trophies.
I'm presenting on work to get protections for cephalopods in United States research. Currently, cephalopods are excluded from animal welfare regulations for laboratory animals because they are invertebrates. And we've been trying to get these basic welfare policy regulations in place.
I make the argument when I was here that we don't want to go down the meat tax route if it means giving up on regulating animal agriculture. Because I worry that a meat tax might shrink animal agriculture a little bit, but it does nothing to improve the lives of the animals in those industries. Whereas if you look at the kinds of policies that we've been pushing for years to try to improve animal agriculture, those could have the same impact as the meat tax, but at the same time, they would also make lives better for the animals that are still on the farms.
My work begins with police animals, so I was presenting on police dogs in particular. But more broadly, I was really trying to think through some of the gaps between the movement for racial justice that's particularly ongoing now post-George Floyd, and how that can be connected to the movement for animal justice through abolition. In particular, I'm really thinking about what it means for animals to be used at all these sites of state violence, from borders to prisons, and really trying to rethink those links and suggest that racial justice is connected to animal justice.
I spoke about how we as advocates can advance animals' interests in the political process and level the playing field to make sure that they actually get considered by policymakers. So in Canada, we have child and youth advocates in many provinces whose task is essentially to protect the rights and interests of children. And I think you could take this model and apply it almost precisely to the question of animals and how we can better do a job of protecting them as a society and as a government.
Social work is a profession that focuses on social justice and empowerment of people and communities. We as a profession on the whole don't necessarily consider animals as part of our work that we do. And so really what I'm trying to bring to the table is to broaden our ethical and moral consideration of animals and recognize that human well-being and animal well-being are interconnected and intertwined, and so we have to be mindful of both in order to be more effective in the work that we're doing.
Kirkpatrick Foundation and the Oxford Center for Animal Ethics have total alignment in their values, and to make new friends here and stitch together our work in North America with your work here in England is really just an extraordinary opportunity, and who knows what could arise out of this.